Welcome to Creative Wealth Academy's Video Vault. This is financing in 5 minutes or less. So the question of the night is, what's the biggest obstacle investors are currently facing? While we all have our own interpretation of what's created the housing market to be where it's at, I think we all can agree on the factor of what's keeping it there. Buying power. Right now, the standard requirements for an investment loan is between 20 to 25% down, above 720 FICO score, and under 40% debt to income. And even investors that meet that criteria often find themselves struggling to secure financing. Right now, the reality is there isn't much logic behind the decisions that banks are making. So, this is my attempt to make sense of a crazy market of unconventional financing techniques. The first step is to identify your current resources. There's cash, credit, and time. If you have cash or credit, then you're in a position to literally pick and choose from some of the best opportunities that have ever existed. If you don't have either, well, then you're simply leveraging your time and energy to facilitate the deal. Your ability to make money is going to be directly connected to your ability to locate good investment opportunities and then line them up with a buyer, whether it's someone for a primary residence or another investor. You are essentially an investor broker. Now, there are of course other options if you're interested in doing the deal yourself, which brings us to our first type of loan, hard money. Hard money has changed quite a bit over the last year. For investors, this source of funding is used for higher interest, short-term loans where the loan-to-value requirements are typically 70% and under. Now, in recent months, this has gone from being really non-credit based to fairly strict credit requirements with most lenders. The reason being is they want to make sure that their exit strategy is secure. When they require a 650 credit score, it increases the borrower's ability to refinance the loan if they needed to, paying the hard money lender off in the process. Now, lenders without credit requirements definitely still do exist, but to locate one may take a little bit more time than others. Typical terms for hard money is between 15 to 20% interest, 3 to 5 points, with a time frame between 60 to 90 days. Occasionally you'll find a lender that'll go up to 12 months, which is always a beautiful thing when it's available. Private money. This is very similar to hard money, but typically with a little bit more focus on the interest rate. These loans are often longer term than 90 days, with the loan originating from an individual or group. Loan-to-value requirements will be similar to hard money, that way it minimizes the risk for the lender. Now, this is an area that's grown quite a bit over the last year as a result of the bank's inability to provide funding, even with secure collateral. While there's no standard terms for private money, the typical time frame will be over 12 months with 8 to 10% interest or more being paid. Transactional funding. Now, anyone involved with short sales over the last 6 months has been hearing this term thrown around quite a bit. That's because this is the strategy investors are using to do double closings. Banks, they want to see investors come in with their own funds, as compared to using the end buyer's funds to close the deal. So what transactional funding provides is the temporary funds to close the deal before the title is ever transferred to the end buyer. In other words, A sells to B, B sells to C. There's 3 parties, 2 closings, separate funds. Bridge loans. Bridge loans are used for commercial deals typically in order to close quickly, relieve foreclosure, or bridge the gap between the purchase and when financing is acquired, hence the name. These loans are typically paid back when the property is sold or refinanced. Since they are fairly short term, the interest being paid is obviously going to reflect that. Blanket loans. These type of loans are often used for developers that are buying larger pieces of land and then subdividing them. They're also used with hard money to cross-collateralize and then minimize the risk for the lender. Often when banks do blanket loans, they want to see the properties in the same general area, and then they'll limit the amount of properties that they'll lend against. This in turn helps the investor with their credit and ability to finance future deals. Mezzanine loans. These you're not going to see as much when it comes to real estate because they're typically used for expanding businesses and developers. This is when a lender will take something other than the first position to secure their interest in the property. Like I said, it's not as common with real estate, but still existent. So the question is, how do you acquire these types of funding? There's several resources that you have right at your fingertips right now. The first is in the Wealth Vault. There are 2 nationwide directories that you can use to locate a list of hard money lenders throughout the country. The second is in the Assignment Vault. You'll find a financing assignment with a list of different online resources, as well as several online directories on top of that. And the third is a roundtable discussion covering the topics that we've discussed up until this point. So the next step is you'll want to put together an email or a script if you're going to be calling, and send it out to 15 to 20 hard money lenders. I also recommend calling them. The purpose of this is really to break down what it is that you're looking for and then the types of deals that you're coming across. You also want to find out the following: loan to value requirements, time frame, points and interest, whether or not they'll lend against the after repaired value, that way you can pull cash out for rehab, the credit or income requirements, price range, market preference, and whether or not they're willing to provide proof of funds. Now, in order to acquire probably 3 to 4 good funding sources, you'll need to at least get a hold of probably at least 10. In order to get a hold of 10, you'll probably have to contact 20. So think of it like a numbers game. Take your emotion out of the outcome and just treat it like that, a numbers game. Now, here at Creative Wealth Academy, in an attempt to eliminate all the possible excuses, we've lined up 2 new opportunities for students to take advantage of. The first is the ability to become your own private money lender and literally pick and choose from some of the best deals that are out there. The second is we've lined up in-house hard money that you can use for your deals. Credit requirements are a lot lower, but obviously loan to value requirements are high, which just means the bottom line is don't send us wood, find a good deal. For both of these, feel free to contact the office and we'll talk about the details from there. Thanks and good luck.